And now you can take a deep breath. Let the air move softly in, then out again. The night is quieting all around you, like a deep, slow tide. You can feel your body resting, sinking into stillness, while the world itself seems to close its eyes. Outside, a hush has settled over the hills. The air is cool, but not cold. It carries the faint scent of pine needles and distant rain, a fragrance that makes you want to breathe deeper and slower. Somewhere, a small window glows with golden light. Inside, a kettle sighs as it cools. Beside it sits a person, not old, not young, with a notebook open on their lap. Their name is Liora. She has lived for many years in a small stone cottage near the edge of a meadow, where the grasses grow taller than her knees and sway like gentle waves in the wind. Most nights, she sits quietly on her porch, listening to the stars. It might sound unusual, but that's what she says, that she listens to them. Not for voices exactly, not for words in the way we know them, but for something softer, a kind of murmuring, like light moving through leaves, or the hum of the world when everything else has gone still. Tonight, she closes her notebook and steps outside. The sky opens above her, wide, dark, and filled with trembling silver light. The stars are clear and close, as though the whole universe has come a little nearer just to breathe beside her. The grass brushes her bare ankles as she walks. The earth is cool and slightly damp beneath her feet. Somewhere, an owl drifts silently from one tree to another. And Liora thinks, as she often does, what are they saying tonight? She settles on a flat rock near the edge of the field and lifts her face toward the heavens. For a moment, she closes her eyes. She doesn't try to name the constellations or search for meaning. She just listens. The world seems to slow around her. The air thickens with quiet. Even the crickets hush for a few breaths. And then she feels it. That familiar, almost imperceptible shimmer that touches her heart when she's truly still. It isn't sound, and it isn't sight. It's something in between, a kind of gentle knowing. The stars, she thinks, are whispering again. Long ago, her grandmother told her that every star carries a memory, not just of the universe itself, but of every place it has ever looked upon. The stars see everything, her grandmother said, and they keep it all. Every quiet joy, every wave that reaches the shore, every seed that opens beneath the soil. They remember it all in their light. Liora smiles at the memory. The night air tastes faintly of mint from the patch that grows near her porch. The wind sighs through the tall grasses, making a sound like a slow ocean. She whispers softly, "What do you remember tonight?" Of course, no one answers. But something inside her chest feels warm, like a lantern being lit. She takes another deep breath. The stars above her seem to pulse gently, as if in rhythm with her heartbeat. One star, just above the horizon, flickers more brightly than the others, a pale golden color, soft and kind. Liora's gaze lingers there. It feels almost alive, that star, as though it's watching back. And in that moment, she feels a thought drift through her mind, though she can't tell if it's her own. "Walk with us." She blinks, smiling faintly at herself. "I must be tired," she murmurs aloud. Still, something in the quiet night invites her to follow. So she rises from her rock and begins walking through the field. The path is faint, just a trail where deer sometimes wander. Each step presses lightly into the earth, and the grasses lean aside with a sigh. The moon has not yet risen, so the stars are the only light. They fall gently across the meadow like dusted silver. Every movement stirs tiny sparks of dew. As she walks, the air changes. It grows softer, as if the night itself is thickening into a dream. The stars above her stretch farther, deeper, until it feels like she's walking through the sky itself. The ground beneath her seems to fade into a kind of luminous mist, and the world grows hushed and wide. She feels no fear, only a soft curiosity, like the feeling of stepping into a new morning. The golden star ahead shines more brightly now, almost like a lantern at the end of a long road. And then, without knowing exactly how, Liora realizes she's no longer in her meadow. She stands at the edge of a vast plain of silvery grass. The horizon glows with faint blue light, and in the distance, There are mountains that shimmer as though made of crystal. The air here hums quietly, a low, musical tone that seems to come from everywhere at once. The sky is vast, scattered with stars that move very slowly, like drifting boats on a deep ocean. She takes a slow breath, and the air feels cool and alive. It's not a dream exactly. It feels more real than that. But it's not quite the world she knows. She begins to walk again. The grasses brush against her hands, releasing tiny sparkles that hover like fireflies. Every few steps, a faint breeze carries the scent of something she can't quite name, soft, like rain on stone. And the stars, they seem closer here. Some so low she could almost reach out and touch them. One of them flickers near her path, pulsing with a slow, steady rhythm. And for a moment, she thinks she hears, or feels, a voice. You found your way. Liora stands very still. The star hovers a few feet away, its light gentle and warm. Not blinding, just a soft, golden radiance. I followed the light, she whispers. The star pulses again. You listened. That's all it takes. Her breath trembles slightly. Is this where you live? We live everywhere, comes the reply, though not in words, more in feeling. But sometimes we speak best in silence. Liora smiles faintly. And what do you say when you speak? The star shimmers for a long while before answering. We tell what we've seen, what we remember, what still glows, even after time forgets. She nods, as though that makes perfect sense. And in this quiet, luminous place, it does. The star begins to drift forward, and Liora follows. They walk together through the silver fields. Every so often, the star glows brighter, and with each glow, images ripple softly through the air. Faint, transparent memories that seem to come from far away. She sees a child standing by the sea, laughing as waves wash over bare feet. She sees an old woman planting seeds beneath a bright spring sky. A lantern being lit in a window on a snowy night. Two people sitting quietly beneath a tree, saying nothing at all, just holding the same silence between them. Each image lasts only a few moments, like petals drifting on water. These are what you've seen? She asks gently. The star pulses once. These are what we keep. Light never forgets. Liora walks in silence for a long while, letting the memories pass around her like soft music. After some time, she begins to feel the faint pull of sleep in her body. Not tiredness exactly, but the calm sinking that happens when everything is at rest. The star seems to sense it too. It slows, its glow deepening into a softer hue. You can rest here if you wish. She looks around. The plain stretches endlessly, quiet and open. There's no need to hurry, no reason to go anywhere else. She sits down in the silvery grass. It feels like cool silk beneath her hands. The night hums softly, steady and kind. Above, the stars drift slowly across the deep blue sky, each one a small memory burning gently in the dark. She lies back, closes her eyes, and breathes. The star hovers nearby, keeping watch. And as she begins to drift toward sleep, the deep, dreamless kind that feels like floating, she hears, very faintly, the murmur of 1,000 voices woven into one. Rest now. We'll remember this for you. The night grows quieter still. The air cools just slightly, enough to make the warmth of her body feel safe and steady. Everything seems to freeze, preparing for sleep. Even the stars themselves dim just a little, as though they, too, are breathing slowly with her. And somewhere, far away, but not distant, the first hint of dawn waits patiently, gentle and golden, knowing there's no need to hurry. Because for now, everything is still, and everything is exactly as it should be. The night is still. Even the wind has settled into a quiet sigh, and the silver grass no longer sways. It just glimmers faintly in the hush. Liora rests for a long while. She feels as though she has drifted into the space between dreaming and waking, that delicate balance where everything feels both near and far. When she opens her eyes again, the light around her has changed. It's softer now, tinted with a faint lavender glow, as though the stars have dimmed to let her rest a little longer. She sits up slowly, brushing a few strands of shimmering grass from her arms. The star that guided her floats nearby, its light steady and warm. For a moment, neither of them moves. Then the star drifts closer, circling her once before hovering above her shoulder like a companion that has known her for a very long time. Did you rest well? The feeling asks. Yes, she whispers, smiling. It feels as though I've been sleeping inside the sky. The star glows faintly, as if pleased. Would you like to see more? Liora looks around the endless field, calm, endless, serene. Where would we go? The star turns its light toward the horizon. Far away, she sees a faint glimmer, not quite like the other stars, more like the reflection of water catching the light. There, the star says softly. That's where we keep our memories. We call it the garden. The garden of stars, she says under her breath, tasting the words. It sounds like something from an old story, half forgotten, half true. So she rises again, slowly, and follows. The path is gentle. Each step carries her deeper into quiet. The ground feels softer here, covered in tiny petals that glow with their own faint light. When she brushes her hand along them, they release a scent like honey and rain. The air hums with a soft vibration, the sound of distance folding in upon itself. Somewhere far above, a star drifts by like a lantern on water. Liora feels lighter with every step, as though her thoughts are dissolving into the silence. After a time, though time feels meaningless here, she begins to see what the star meant. The horizon opens into a vast expanse of light, a valley of floating spheres and shimmering blossoms. The ground glows gently, and above it, thousands of orbs of soft radiance hang like fruit from invisible branches. Each one pulses with its own rhythm, slow, steady, alive. Liora stands at the edge, breath caught softly in her throat. What is this place? The star beside her shimmers in reply. Every memory we keep becomes a light. This is where they rest, the quiet ones, the gentle ones. The moments the universe loved so much, it refused to let them fade. She steps closer. The lights hum faintly, a melody so delicate she feels it more than hears it. Each orb glows with a different hue, some silver, some rose, some pale blue. She reaches out to one. The light trembles at her touch, and suddenly the air fills with an image. She sees a small river winding through a forest at dusk. Fireflies dance above it, and a child sits on the bank, dipping a hand into the cool water. The sound of laughter, soft, true, ripples through the air. Then the image fades. Liora exhales slowly. It's beautiful, she murmurs. Every joy leaves a trace, the star answers. Even those no one remembers anymore. The light keeps them safe. They walk deeper into the garden. The air grows warmer, scented with pine and something faintly sweet, like ripe fruit. The hum around them becomes a slow rhythm, the heartbeat of memory itself. Liora looks up. Some lights drift freely above, floating like dandelion seeds. What happens to them? She asks. They wander, the star replies. Some choose to return to the world, to rest on waves, or in the glow of a candle, or in the eyes of someone who remembers love. Others stay and keep watch. She nods slowly, letting the thoughts settle like dust. After some time, they come to a small clearing at the heart of the garden. Here, the lights are fewer but brighter, gathered close together as if in conversation. The air hums a little louder here, not sharp, just fuller, as if the silence itself is singing. The golden star slows. These are the oldest memories, it says softly, from before the first dawn, from when light first learned to speak. Liora listens. The sound is like wind through chimes, endless and patient. What do they say? She whispers. They tell of beginnings, the star replies. Of the first warmth, the first touch between darkness and glow. They speak of creation, not as a burst, but as a breath. Slow, gentle, like waking up. She closes her eyes, feeling the sound move through her chest, as though the universe is breathing with her. For a long while, there are no words, only stillness, and the faint rhythm of light pulsing all around. Then, very faintly, she hears a whisper from one of the oldest lights. Every spark remembers where it began. Even you. Liora opens her eyes, startled by the familiarity of the tone. Me? The light glows a little brighter, like a smile. Every heart is a star, once asleep and now awake. You are made of what remembers. The words, or perhaps the feeling of them, settle deep inside her, soft and warm. She looks down at her hands. For a moment, they shimmer faintly, as though her own skin remembers how to glow. The golden star beside her flickers gently. You see now. That's why you could hear us. She nods, her throat tight with a calm so deep it feels eternal. I never thought of it that way, she says softly. That the stars and we are the same light. Not the same, the star answers, but related. Every living thing carries a little piece of the sky. When you listen, we listen back. They stay there for a while, in that quiet heart of the garden, saying nothing. The lights around them sway gently, humming a lullaby older than time. Liora feels her body grow heavy again, the way it does when sleep begins to reach up like soft water. She sits down on the luminous ground, resting her head against a smooth, glowing stone. The warmth seeps through her skin, spreading through her arms and chest. The star drifts beside her, dimming its light to match the rhythm of her breath. You said you keep memories, she murmurs. Do you keep dreams too? The star hums faintly. Dreams are where we visit. They are the bridges between us. When someone dreams softly, we listen through them, and sometimes we speak back. Liora smiles faintly, eyes half closed. Then maybe I've dreamed of you before. Perhaps, says the star. Or perhaps you're dreaming of us now. Her eyes flutter shut. The hum of the garden grows slower, deeper. Each light begins to dim, one by one, until the whole valley seems to breathe together in silence. The scent of honey and stone drifts through the air. A cool breeze passes once, then stills again. And now you can take a deep breath. The night is getting even quieter. Everything seems to pause, waiting for rest. Leora's last thought before sleep is not a word, but a feeling, the sense of being held by something vast and kind. The stars, it seems, hum softly in reply. Sleep. The light remembers for you. And then there is only peace. When Liora wakes, she isn't certain she ever truly slept. Her body feels light, her thoughts clear but quiet, as though she's been resting within a gentle current of warmth. The garden is dimmer now. The lights have drifted farther apart, and a soft mist curls between them. Somewhere nearby, she hears the faint trickle of water, slow, patient, and bright. The golden star floats before her, glimmering faintly, as though waiting. Where are we now? She asks softly, rubbing her hands together. The air feels cool and alive, like morning dew. At the edge of the garden, the star answers. There is a river here, one that remembers not what was, but what might have been. It keeps the reflections of dreams. Liora smiles faintly. The river of what might have been. The phrase feels like a sigh, like wind through tall reeds. She stands and follows the sound of water. The path slopes gently downward, carpeted with soft petals that glow like starlight caught in frost. Each step makes no sound, only the faint brushing of silk against air. The mist parts slowly, and there before her stretches a wide, quiet river. Its surface is smoother than glass, and it glows from within, a pale, silvery blue, moving as though time itself is flowing through it. Tiny sparks drift on its surface, fragments of light that shimmer and fade, like thoughts being born and forgotten. The river curves away into the distance, vanishing into a pale horizon where sky and water blend. Liora kneels beside it, dipping her fingers into the cool glow. The sensation is unlike water, more like touching memory itself, soft and weightless. What do these lights mean? She whispers. They are dreams, the star says. Every wish, every gentle thought, every moment someone imagines something kind, it comes here first, before it finds its way into the world. She traces a slow pattern in the surface. The ripples shimmer outward, each one leaving behind a faint glimmer. And do they come true? The star hums softly. Some do. Some drift forever. But none are lost. Liora watches as one small spark drifts closer to her. Inside it, faintly, she sees the image of a tiny boat rocking on calm water, a child sleeping inside, watched over by the moon. She feels a tenderness she cannot explain. The dream fades, drifting downstream, its light folding into the current. The air here is different, almost like a lullaby in motion. The river murmurs as it moves, and the sound seems to whisper just beneath hearing. If she listens closely, she can almost make out words, small fragments carried by the current. Soft wind. Safe home. We are here. Liora closes her eyes, letting the rhythm of the river match her breath. Each inhale feels like the tide moving in, each exhale like it flowing gently away. Her heartbeat slows. The golden star hovers low beside her, its light mirrored perfectly in the water. After a while, she asks, "Do you ever follow the river?" "Sometimes," the star replies. "It leads to the places between waking and sleep, where the quietest truths live. But one must walk slowly, and only when the heart is ready." "I think I'd like to see," she says softly. The star brightens a little, then drifts forward along the riverbank. The path winds gently beside the water. Tall reeds shimmer like threads of silver, and the air carries a faint sweetness, the scent of night-blooming flowers opening in the dark. Every so often, a light rises from the river's surface and hovers for a while before drifting away into the sky. Liora watches one float upward until it disappears among the stars. "Where does it go?" "Back to the sky that made it," says the star. "Back to the dreamer who wished it into being." Every dream that finds its home becomes a star of its own. She smiles, her eyes following the trail of faint sparkles it leaves behind. Then maybe every star is someone's dream that learned to shine. Perhaps, the star hums. That is what we tell ourselves when the nights grow long. As they walk, the mist thickens, and soon the world grows softer, more uncertain at its edges. The river widens, becoming almost like a lake. The reflections in its surface no longer match the sky. They move on their own, showing distant scenes. Liora pauses, leaning closer. In the mirrored water, she sees an image of her own cottage, the small window glowing, the kettle steaming, the chair empty by the door. She feels neither sorrow nor surprise, only a gentle recognition, like greeting an old friend. "That's my home," she whispers. "Yes," says the star. "Part of you is still there, the part that dreams when the body sleeps." She watches as the reflection shifts. Now she sees herself sitting outside, just as she did before she began this walk, eyes turned upward, listening to the stars. It feels like looking into a soft circle, one that has no beginning and no end. The image fades. The river grows calm again. They walk a little farther, until the air begins to hum again. Not loud, just steady, like a heartbeat beneath the world. The star slows, turning its glow toward the water. Here it says, "This is where reflections rest before becoming light." In the middle of the river, the water seems to open, not downward, but inward. A soft spiral of light swirls slowly, drawing everything around it into a deep, luminous stillness. Liora feels the pull, gentle but sure. It's not frightening. It feels like the kind of gravity that keeps one close to warmth, to rest, to home. "What happens if I step in?" she asks. "Then you will see what your own heart remembers," the star replies. "But only if you wish to." She hesitates. Then she removes her shoes and steps softly into the water. It is cool, almost weightless. Her feet make no sound as she wades deeper. The light curls around her legs like threads of silk. The star follows, floating above the surface, its glow steady and kind. As she reaches the center of the river, the spiral of light brightens. The world around her fades into a soft haze. No more sky, no more shore, just the sound of the current breathing around her. Then she begins to see. At first, the visions are faint, ripples in the water, half-formed and delicate. Then, slowly, they take shape. She sees herself as a small child, lying on her back in a field, staring up at the night sky. Her grandmother sits beside her, pointing to the constellations. "They speak," the old woman says with a smile, "but only to those who listen without asking." The image shimmers, then shifts. She sees herself older now, standing by her window during a storm, the stars hidden behind clouds. Yet she still listens, hearing them in the sound of the rain. Another ripple passes. She sees every quiet moment of her life. Every time she sat by a window, or watched dawn arrive, or felt peace for no reason at all of them gleam softly in the water. And behind them, she sees the same golden star, always near, always watching. In a reflection, a spark, a flicker of candlelight. She breathes out slowly. I never knew you were there. The star glows a little brighter. We were never far. Leora's eyes fill with tears, not sadness, only warmth. The water hums gently around her, as though cradling her heartbeat. And now, everything begins to still again. The river's surface smooths. The visions fade back into silver light. The mist thins, revealing the quiet valley once more. The star hovers near her shoulder. You've seen what was yours, it says softly. And what has always been part of the sky. Liora nods slowly. She steps out of the river, the droplets glowing briefly on her skin before vanishing into the air. The night feels deeper now, more complete. Every sound, the whisper of water, the breath of wind, the faraway hum of stars, blends into one quiet song. She sits by the riverbank again. The star lowers itself beside her. And for a while, they say nothing. The world, too, seems to hold its breath. Everything is gentle. Everything is whole. The light ripples once more across the surface of the water, slow, endless, peaceful. And now you can take a deep breath. The night is growing even softer, and the stars above seem to sigh in contentment. Far away, dawn is waiting, patient and warm. But there is no hurry. For now, only this quiet river flows, and every dream rests safely in its glow. The river has gone quiet. Liora sits a long time beside it, her fingers tracing circles in the soft earth. The air has grown cool and carries the scent of something new, fresh pine, faint smoke, the promise of light just beyond the hills. The golden star floats nearby, no longer bright, but still steady, a small heart of warmth in the growing hush. She looks at the water. Its glow has faded to a pale gray blue, and above it the sky has deepened into that soft indigo that comes before dawn. The stars are fewer now, but the ones that remain shine with a deeper calm, like old friends who stay until you fall asleep. Leora's voice is little more than a breath. Is this where it ends? Nothing ends, the star murmurs. But you are near the place where things begin again. The words drift through her like the tide. She watches a thin path of silver light stretch across the river, a narrow bridge made of mist and quiet. It arches so faintly, she almost doubts it's real. The bridge of dawn, the star says softly. It appears only once for each traveler. It carries them from the dreams of night back into the waking world. Liora stands slowly. The earth beneath her feet feels lighter than air, as though it knows she'll soon leave it behind. She looks across the river and sees a faint golden glow waiting on the far shore, the color of her cottage window at morning. She takes a step onto the bridge. It doesn't creak or shift. It simply supports her, like walking on breath itself. The star glides beside her, its reflection rippling faintly below. They move slowly, neither speaking for a while. The sound of water fades into a hush that seems to come from everywhere at once. Above them, the last few stars flicker softly, like eyes closing. Halfway across, Liora stops. The view around her seems endless. Behind, the silver gardens and river still shimmer in a quiet twilight. Ahead, the sky brightens with the gentlest hint of rose. Between the two, she stands suspended in calm. Will I remember this? She asks. Not in the way you remember a day, the star replies, but in the way your heart remembers a lullaby. When you feel peace for no reason, when you look at the night and it feels like home, that is us. She smiles faintly. Then I'll listen for you, and we will answer. The bridge beneath her feet begins to glow warmer, the mist parting slowly as light gathers around her. Each breath feels softer, easier, as though the air itself is carrying her home. The far shore comes closer. She sees, now, that the glow ahead isn't the sun yet. It's her own light, reflected back to her. Every calm thought, every kind memory, every small joy she ever gave to the world glows there, waiting. The golden star drifts to her side and pauses. Here, I stop, it says gently. Liora turns toward it. You're not coming? We never leave, the star hums. We only change where we shine. Look for us in the morning light, in the shimmer on water, in the silence between breaths. She nods. Thank you for showing me what the stars can say. The star flickers once, as if smiling. Thank you for listening. Its light folds into itself, and then it rises, higher and higher, until it becomes one more soft spark in the paling sky. Liora watches it fade, her heart full and still. Then she steps forward, across the last span of the bridge. When she reaches the other side, the air feels different, warmer, scented with earth and dew. The sound of birds is faint, far away but real. The mist lifts like a curtain, and she sees her own meadow, soft and glimmering beneath the first touch of dawn. The grass is wet with dew. Her cottage waits quietly, the window faintly golden from the fire she left smoldering hours ago, or perhaps only moments. She can't tell. She stands for a while, watching the horizon pale. The stars above are fading, one by one, but each seems to linger a heartbeat longer, as though reluctant to leave her side. Then she walks home, slowly, every step quiet and sure. On her porch, the chair waits where she left it. The kettle inside the cottage gives a soft sigh, as if it's been waiting too. She sits, draws a blanket around her shoulders, and lets the warmth of morning settle into her skin. The sky lightens by degrees, from indigo to violet, to rose, to gold. Each color feels like a breath of something ancient and kind. Liora closes her eyes and listens. The world is waking. A breeze moves through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and rain. Somewhere, a bird calls softly, not to announce the day, but to welcome it. And beneath all those sounds, she hears it again. The faint hum she has always known, quiet and endless, the voice of light remembering itself. She smiles, her eyes still closed. I can't hear you, she whispers. The hum softens, folding into the morning air. We know. The sun rises, slow and gentle, spilling gold across the meadow. The dew turns to silver fire, and the sky stretches wide, washed clean. Everything glows for a moment. The house, the hills, the path that leads away and back again. And in that light, every star's memory seems to shimmer, still present, only hidden behind the brightness of day. Liora breathes in deeply, the scent of warm grass filling her lungs. Her heartbeat moves in rhythm with the world, steady, calm, alive. She opens her notebook and writes one quiet sentence. The stars say what the heart already knows. Then she closes it, smiling. The day begins, soft and new. And somewhere above, though unseen, the stars rest, whispering their slow, endless lullaby to the waking earth. The night has ended, but the calm remains. You can feel it still, the weightless hush of stars, the slow comfort of breath and dawn, the sense that nothing is lost and nothing is hurried. Take one more deep breath. The story is whole now. Everything is quiet. Everything is light.